Hello and welcome to Indianomics. Just over a month after the demonetization policy announcement, the government wants you to make your wallets lighter. Go cashless, get discounts. This seems to be the mantra as the centre has rolled out a slew of discounts for you if you use plastic money. Number one, fuel would be available at a 0.75% discount at gas stations if payments are made digitally. Second, toll plazas on national highways will give you a 10% discount. And good news for railway passengers, you can avail of a 5% railway services discount on services like catering, retiring rooms, if you pay digitally. Furthermore, all railway passengers who buy tickets online will get a free accident insurance cover worth 10 lakh rupees. And lastly, insurance itself bought online from customer portals of public sector companies will get an 8% discount for life and a 10% discount for general insurance. But a lot of questions remain. Is India ready to go cashless? Is our digital infrastructure ready? Do we have enough electricity? Do we have enough literacy, for God's sake? To answer all this and more, we are joined by Amitabh Kant, the CEO of Niti Aayog, Rajiv Anand, the Executive Director of Retail Banking at Axis Bank, AP Hota, the Founder and Chief Executive Officer at the National Payments Corporation of India, and Nikhil Kumar from iSPIRIT, the industry body for software products, financial software products in India. Gentlemen, welcome. In a bit, we will have more bankers joining us. But let me start with Nikhil. Okay, as perhaps the person who is watching it as a software maverick. Nikhil, what's your sense? Do you think discounts is the way to go to encourage people to go cashless?
Yeah, I think, personally today I was just filling my car's fuel just before coming to the studio. And I noticed around 90% of people were all paying through cards. As a consumer, I'm extremely happy because earlier, if you look at the way credit card companies marketed to you, right? So one of the largest reasons why employees bought credit cards was, they sold on the fact that you will not be charged fuel surcharge, right? And that was my actual motivation to actually buy a credit card. And today, when the government is saying, if you spend it through your debit card or credit card, I'm going to give you cash back, I think it's an extremely welcome move. I have, in fact, switched from using from my credit card and I've started using my debit card. Today, I paid it with my debit card because I'm pretty sure that, I'm getting this cash back.
Well, that's one happy customer, Mr. Amitabh Kant, and yours truly has been using plastic even without the discount simply because of the inconvenience and the unsafe, possibilities if you handle cash. But Mr. Kant, what is your sense? Okay, we should get Mr. Amitabh Kant yet again in a minute. Let me get to Mr. Hota. Mr. Hota, what is your sense? Should the government be encouraging plastic in the first place? Because plastic is soon going to be outvoted or rendered outmoded by either, the wallets or by your own UPI. So should the government be thinking ahead and not really get stuck with plastic?
What is happening today is literally a war against cash. So any form of payment other than cash is welcome. Good thing about the plastic and the card payment system is it is highly stabilized. With the PMJDY scheme, now the cards are with people even in the rural areas and even the semi-urban areas. So if a stable system is leveraged, it is good. And as we see, the volume is growing. But at the same time, I would say that to make a non-cash payment universal, we have to leverage the mobile phones, both smartphone and the feature phone. So all forms of non-cash electronic payments would have to be simultaneously fired. So all engines would have to be fired at this stage.
That's a fair point. But before I get to Rajiv and the convenience factor that banks would opt for, Nikhil, do you think the days of plastic are numbered at all? Or don't you, given where you come from as a person dealing in software products, very soon cards will lend way to Paytm and, wallets and UPI. and therefore the government should think fast and not get stuck in cards.
I completely agree, but you know, I just want to bring about a perspective about why is it important for people to go digital, and I just want to share a personal anecdotal from my own family. You know, so when the PMJDY happened, you know, my maid went and got herself a bank account, and ever since I've started paying her salary to her bank account. And just yesterday, I'm very happy to share it with you that, you know, she was actually able to get a working capital loan from her bank because her salary was being credited in her bank account. So it's extremely important for us to understand and also help people understand that going digital allows you to actually have your transaction trace, right? And this trace gives access to credit. And this is extremely important, irrespective of whether this is a debit card transaction or whether it's a Paytm transaction or whether it's unified payments interface. Essentially, if the entry is in your bank, and that is what is important for us, all of us to understand and spread today. And if you notice, even, you know, Paytm is becoming very soon a payments bank, and just yesterday they've announced, you know, complete support on UPI, and they've expected to go live in the next 1.5 months. So I think UPI as a protocol will probably converge all the siloed payment methods that we have in India and become a truly interoperable payment system.
Okay, actually, I was going to ask Mr. Hota that question, you know, at what point do, you know, wallets and UPI start becoming interoperable? But we've got someone who will be able to tell us what is in the policymakers' mind. We have Mr. Amitabh Kant, the CEO of Niti Aayog, with us. Mr. Kant, thank you very much for taking time out for us. Just before you joined, there were some happy customers delighted that they are getting that 0.75% discount when they fill petrol in their two-wheelers or their four-wheelers. But are there more steps? I mean, card is somewhat getting run over by wallets and by Mr. Hota's UPI. So are you all thinking ahead on those lines as well?
No, you've got to ensure that digital payment mechanisms have incentives, and there is actually a disincentive on cash. And over a period of time, if we are able to build this, then the market forces will take over, and you'll see digital payments take over. You can't have a scenario where at present we are able to withdraw money from banks on, you know, liquid cash, and when we do digital transaction, you end up incurring close to about 1.5% to 2% in digital transactions, and therefore both customers, one, would not like it, and secondly, if you keep putting a liability on merchants, merchants will not push for digital payments. So both, it has to be a win-win for both consumers and for merchants to push for digital payments, and therefore we've pushed through several incentives which were announced by the finance minister yesterday.
Yes.
But I think we need to do much, much more, enable market forces to really take off for the digital payments.
Okay.
I mean, that's critical.
What is that much more? Is there anything in your mind already?
I think the government is working on several other things, and I think we should wait for many other things to unfold in the days to come.
Okay.
But the government is determined to ensure that India moves from an 86% cash economy to an economy where people start transacting digitally.
Okay.
And this poses several challenges. One is in terms of incentive, disincentive. Secondly is in terms of changing the psychological mindset of people of moving from cash, which is a challenge. You have to create awareness, help people to actually transit to a digital economy in terms of doing transactions. And therefore, somebody has to facilitate that.
Okay.
And thirdly, I think really ensuring that the technology is very easy, very simple, and it's very robust and has adequate security features. And so we are looking at all these three aspects of technology being made easier and simple, and you know, building up good incentives, and trying to also, I think the fourth is very, very critical, and that is taking merchants on board. So you need a vast number of merchants.
Mr. Kant, I'll tell you what my experience was. I have always been a card payer. but my recent visit to the spa, and the person with me paid cash. Now, my big fear is I paid by card and I insisted on a bill. The person in front of me did not pay by card, paid by cash, and did not take a bill. My big fear is that he got a discount because the lady who's selling the service may not declare that money, may not pay a service tax, may not pay an income tax, and they may split the spoils. But by sweeping the card, from the start, I'm a spoiler of her game, and I may be at the rough end.
Yeah, so Latha, the key thing is that, merchants have to move over to a digital economy, and therefore we need to incentivize merchants in the taxation structure, that those who are transiting to a digital economy, because what is going to happen is that a lot of merchants over the years have been dealing in cash.
Yes.
Over the last vast number of years, they've been dealing in cash, and suddenly you're asking them to shift digitally. It's not about the installments they pay on the POS machine, but it's about the fact that when they start dealing digitally, their transaction, the total transaction gets formalized, and suddenly you will see that compared to the previous 6 or 7 years, their total amount of transactions in value terms will be much higher.
Yes,
in the mindset of merchants is that suddenly someone will open up their previous year's accounts or subject it to surveys or subject them to rates.
No, I take a point. I deliberately gave you an example of someone who is up the value chain and not someone who is a recent convert to digital. A spa was always taking cards. But let me come to another issue. At the moment, cash withdrawals are not permitted. So everyone is perforce using the card or other payments because cash is rationed. Will that continue, or will you tax withdrawals so that cash has the same disadvantage or a bigger disadvantage than other modes?
See, Latha, you can't do things forcibly. That's not the right way to do it. What you need to do is to build the right incentives for digital payments. But you definitely need to send out a very clear message, I think, which the government is determined to do, and Prime Minister has spoken about this, that merchants who move to digital payments, they will be supported, and their accounts for previous years will not be opened, and they will not be subject to surveys and tax rates, etc. That's number one.
Yeah.
But secondly, I think the important thing is that making it interoperable through UPI and Aadhaar-enabled systems are very, very easy. It's like opening an email.
Yes.
So making technology very easy and simple will be very important. And I think a lot of work is getting done on this. Firstly, UPI is interoperable. Aadhaar-enabled system is interoperable. Whereas wallets today are easy, but they are in a closed loop. They enable your money to move out of the banking system into the wallet.
Okay.
And from there you do transactions.
Okay. So yeah, you know what, I'm out of time, but I'm going to ask you one last question before I get to the other guests. Mr. Kant, UPI is definitely a beautiful system, but it requires a smartphone. The other day, I was trying to pay my friend in office, and, it was taking forever because of, the spectrum limited availability. And when I tried to teach my maid, the fear of illiteracy and the fear that she will give somebody her PIN number was uppermost in my mind. Aren't these formidable infrastructure challenges? Isn't cashlessness still a distant dream?
No, I think it's in the long run, UPI and Aadhaar-enabled system is a very, very easy, simple method. Now, UPI and Aadhaar-enabled system will, in the long run, be clear winners. But in the short run, we need to fire on all cylinders.
Okay.
So whether it's UPI, whether it's debit credit cards, whether it's prepaid cards, whether it's wallet, whether it's USSD, all need to be pushed in the short run to make India move towards a digital payment economy. Because the day more and more cash comes in, you'll see the black money coming back again. You'll see, counterfeits coming in again. So I think it's important to educate our people towards the digital payment economy. Thank you very much.
That point is taken, sir. We have to take a break. We are coming back, and Rajiv Anand, Mr. Hota, and Nikhil Kumar are still with us in a minute. Welcome back to Indianomics. We are discussing the government's go cashless move, go digitize move. And I'm now speaking with Rajiv Anand of Axis Bank, Mr. A.P. Hota of NPCIL, and Nikhil Kumar of iSPIRIT. Well, Rajiv, of course, any bank will be very happy if they don't have to handle cash at all. But now you have a problem of plenty. You have cards, wallets and UPI. Will there be a confusion in terms of being able to handle everything? And exactly how do you handhold illiterate customers?
Latha, I think it's too early to make that call. I think we're just moving from a 85–86% cash economy, as Mr. Kant has mentioned, and I think at the initial stage there will certainly be a proliferation of products, debit cards, credit cards, wallets, UPI, and so on and so forth. And I think over a period of time, customers will use, I would imagine, all of these for various reasons. So just to give you an example, what happens today is that people use debit cards primarily at ATMs. People use wallets for small value transactions, and they use credit cards typically for the higher value transactions when you go to restaurants and so on and so forth. And what we are now seeing is we're seeing great success on UPI because of the simplicity, because of the fact that it's interoperable, because of the fact that it's 24/7, and because of the fact that it's secure. And I think over a period of time, people will make choices in terms of which of these instruments to use to make payments.
Given the availability of spectrum,
to be able to educate the customers.
Yeah. Given the unavailability or poor availability of spectrum, electricity, and literacy in our country, will it always be a tier 2 city phenomenon at max? Rajiv.
No, Latha. I mean, if you see, for example, what we have done in a village in Gujarat, where we have actually, we worked with the local district collector to be able to make that entire village cashless, which means that there are about 4 to 6 little shops there. We've given them POS terminals, and I'm really happy. This morning, my people were telling me that in excess of 45 transactions are going through on those POS terminals. So it's not just a tier 1 or tier 2 story. It is percolating deep down into this country. Is it going to happen tomorrow? Certainly not, but I think the journey is well and truly begun.
Well, you convinced me that card will always have a place, or at least foreseeable future. But Mr. Hota, do you feel hamstrung by the fact that you are stuck to the smartphone? Will UPI be able to transcend that and get into at least a PC? You are working with some disadvantages vis-a-vis the wallet.
Yes, that way the disadvantage is possibly the publicity campaign that the wallet companies are in a position to run. We are not in a position to run. Otherwise, the scheme, the smartphone scheme, has all the facilities, and it is as convenient as the wallets.
But smartphone is expensive,
here I would like to say that, in fact, we have to expensive. That is why really we have the facility of USSD based mobile banking as well. Okay. So it is just *99#. It is available in all the feature phones, and 2/3 of the phones in the country are feature phones. And we see after Prime Minister talked about this USSD based service, the hits have gone up. Yesterday there were 8 million hits. But of course we are facing some infrastructure challenges, but in a couple of days you would see that really the more and more people would start using the *99# from the rural areas, because for the feature phone it does not require even 3G.
Yes.
2G is adequate. Okay. Wherever phone is working, the voice call is working, the phone is working.
Mr. Hota, what do you want as an incentive for UPI to get scaled up? Now cards have got an incentive. What would UPI want?
Yes. Now, I suppose the UPI is also meant for merchant payment transactions. On MDR, the service tax waiver on MDR for transactions up to 2,000, which is given to the cards, should be extended to UPI merchant transactions as well. It's very, very important. And the host of other services or the discounts which goes for the cards should go to UPI as well, because UPI is gradually come to the mainstream. In fact, now there are 31 banks. Almost all the public sector banks are in with a large customer base, so they would be in a position to do. And a lot of, because of Prime Minister himself talking about it, lot of radio jingles, people are trying, and downloads are many. We see now 3 million plus active customers now on the UPI.
All right. Actually, well, you have at least, 300 to 500 CNBC TV 18 customers. I can assure you that we are delighted with UPI. But Nikhil, as the neutral party and as the software whiz kid over here, what do you see as the trajectory? Do you see UPI prevailing? How will things move digital in India?
I think it's fair to say that, we've already started moving digitally. So yesterday I was at a press conference with Paytm, where there 60% of transactions are actually coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities right now. I think on the long run, from a digital transaction perspective, what will be important is the role, it's important for us to watch out and see the role UPI plays, because it's truly an, interoperable system between bank accounts, right? And I think there are enough examples today where people have moved to digital payments. I'm seeing enough live examples, but I think the real key, let me lay out a couple of more points.
Yeah, tell us the future.
I think the digital I think the digital infrastructure already is in place, right? We have one of the world's most sophisticated payment systems, something like the Aadhaar-enabled payment system, which is completely a cardless and also a phoneless. You don't even need to have your phone to basically authorize a transaction. It's based on biometric, right? I think the future is going to be something like this. You'd be sitting in a restaurant, and instead of the restaurant guy asking you for for your card, he's going to ask you for your virtual payment address. You're going to say, pay me at Latha at Yes Bank, and then you're going to get a notification on your phone, and boom, with one click, you'll be able to make your payments. I think similarly in rural areas, when I go and buy a product or a service from a Kirana shop or even a fair price shop, I am just going to probably enter my Aadhaar number, put my fingerprint, and walk out. No cash, no, nothing else exchanged. I think this is what we're going to see as a future. What we thought would take 4 years as a policy think tank at iSPIRIT, I think we might see that happen in less than a year.
And what did you see in 4 years?
So we had a cashless strategy in place, and we estimated that it would take us at least 4 years to move towards this. I think the current demonetization move has just accelerated this, and we believe that the infrastructure is in place. It's all up to the banks and people around to adopt now.
Okay, well, the banks are very eager to push for sure. You could hear the eagerness in Rajiv Anand's voice. Mr. Hota, Rajiv and Nikhil, thank you very much for joining me in this conversation. Well, to be sure, from 86% cash, we are getting to 80 and 75 very quickly. But I would still come back with questions of literacy, spectrum robustness, and electricity, which could be longer-term problems to get to perhaps beyond a 50 or a 60% in terms of cashlessness. We can't hurry that process. That's it on this edition of Indianomics. Thanks for watching.